Welcome back to Pack the Rock Podcast, Episode 9. I am your host, Carlo Barone, joined by Evan Gerike and Max Parker of the Hoosier Network. And guys, that was an ugly game Saturday, to say the least. Hard one to watch. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's about as ugly as it gets for football. I mean, it was hard to watch. You're right. The good thing was, from a reporter's standpoint, there was a very clear, easy story to talk about. Which always makes it a lot easier to sit through one of those games so you can also nearly finish your story by the time the game is over. So that's a positive. That's my overall takeaway of the Penn State-Indiana game, was that I had something to write about, and that's good.
Always good. Always good. It was too windy to call the game from on top of Memorial Stadium. So my play-by-play and I were calling from the WIUX studio. So we got to watch from afar on TV, and it was interesting.
Yeah, interesting is a good way to put it. 45-14 beatdown, and 7 of those points kind of came in the last couple minutes when the game was all well but over. We already kind of talked about our takeaways. My takeaways from the game, It really stems from their offensive line. Their offensive line, I said it earlier in the year, if they can't protect their quarterbacks, they're going to get hurt, and they're going to get into, this never-ending cycle of quarterbacks like they had last year. And here we are again towards the end of the year.
Carlo, I want to ask you, I don't know if you've looked at the PFF stats for the game yet. Do you want to guess what the pass block ranking was grading?
6 sacks in the first half. I assume it probably wasn't very good.
I'll give you a little bit of a hint. The Idaho one was the highest of the season. That was 70.1. Just to kind of give you a range of what you might think it would be. I just want to hear what you think it would be. Where they got
Idaho
rated.
one was 70.1.
Mm-hmm.
This one's got to be at least in the 40s.
They were 49.5 against Rutgers last week.
I maybe
Lower.
in the 20s.
25.1.
Whoa.
Is that like the worst in the history of?
I mean, it's got probably not, but it's
Yeah.
definitely going to be very low.
Jeez.
Needless to say, they made a few. We talked about a few of those offensive line personnel changes in last week's pod, and needless to say, they didn't really work.
No, not at all. Tuttle, his first action in the entire year, he makes it like a quarter and a fourth.
Yeah.
And he goes out with a shoulder injury that doesn't look very good.
No, and he didn't look bad.
No, he really didn't. He
didn't look bad at
There
all.
was a point in the game where he was 9 for 9 with a touchdown and not a pick against Penn State. So, he started off pretty well, but he just couldn't stay healthy. You saw kind of the same thing happen in the Ohio State game last year. Goes in on the first quarter, throws a touchdown, gets clobbered on the play, and then he's out pretty much the rest of the game. And I don't think he returned really that year at all.
No, that was
he might have returned for like a game or two.
Yeah, but that was pretty much the end of the season.
Yeah, let's hope the guys that out for the year. That'd be terrible to get your first action, make it a quarter, and then you're done.
Well, we have seen what happens when you have a history of getting injured at Indiana as quarterback and you transfer somewhere else. Or honestly, even just any quarterback that transfers out.
Yeah.
Obviously, Michael Penix is dominating the Pac-12 right now. He looks really good out there and has stayed healthy this year. Peyton Ramsey just a few years ago went to Northwestern and led them to a pretty good bowl game. I don't remember. Was it the Citrus Bowl they went to?
Max, this is your moment.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, so, hopefully Tuttle transfers out and has some better luck somewhere. You kind of feel bad for the guy.
Oh, absolutely feel bad for him. I guess, though, on the one side, there's if he plays and plays well, then he boosts his stock. But this is about the worst case scenario for him, is that you declare for the transfer portal, you come out, try and boost your stock, and get injured.
Mm-hmm. It was just a strange situation all around because he's like, okay, I'm not going to go to Indiana after this year, but I'm going to help you guys now. And it's I know Zach Osterman with Indy Star tweeted out about it a couple times, like, well, this is what happens in the majors all the time. People say they're going to opt out, but they're still playing for the team. Yeah. Why is this any different? And I think he's got a really good point with that. I don't think it should be any different. But you haven't. This is kind of an unprecedented move in college football. There's not a lot of guys who announce that they're leaving the program and then start. Yeah, and I know like there are definitely guys who have already decided they're going to transfer that are still playing every day, and that's kind of a different thing. But just come out and say it, and then Tom Allen to say, okay, well we still have faith in him. He's still our QB2. And then when they kind of lied to us and told us there's a quarterback battle, and that wasn't true. It was just that Connor Bazelak was injured last week.
So it came out that he was injured?
Yes. He didn't practice at all, but now I guess he's fully healthy and he's starting for Ohio State. So really strange situation there. I don't fully know even what was going on, but the thing is, Jack Tuttle looked really good, and if he had played a full game, and obviously he's not going to maintain the 9-for-9 levels of sufficiency he had, but if he throws for 70% completion rate, which I think was about where he was when he came out, I mean, why not start him next week? And now you don't really have that option. But I mean, the whole situation to go with him over someone new when he's not the future of the program, and like it's a win now move that Tom Allen is trying to pull. And obviously 4 games left and only need 3 more wins to make a bowl game. There's a tiny little chance they did that, either knocking off Penn State or Ohio State. But now the season's pretty much over. So why keep going? Like, why not look towards the future and see if we can get something different out of this offense?
Yeah, Tuttle certainly was in an odd spot there with the transfer portal and starting, but I don't really know how to feel about Tom Allen going over this whole QB battle thing when really behind the scenes it was Bazelak was just hurt. He did say in the press conference he's going to start this week, so we're going to go back to that. But having 3 quarterbacks in one game play, we saw Brendan Sorsby, Dexter Williams, and Tuttle. Just what do you guys see from those guys when they were on the field? Sorsby got a little bit less playing time than Williams, but I think Williams is just generally playing better. And even Allen said that in the press conference. But what do you guys see from those guys?
Yeah, I don't know if we got an answer on whether or not the plan after Tuttle went out was to split time between Williams and Sorsby. Didn't really get an answer about why he went with Sorsby over Williams. A lot of non-answers is kind of the theme. And we asked questions like, what was the decision? He's like, oh, well, they're close. And why is Dexter Williams still close to a true freshman? I'm not sure, and I don't think they're very similar style-wise. But, I mean, Sorsby just didn't look good at all, and I don't think that's entirely his fault. I just don't think he's the kind of quarterback Dexter Williams is, where he can, escape pressure in the pocket and scramble for a little bit of, I think he had 24 rushing yards maybe. I mean, Sorsby comes in there. First, you're thrown in there right after Jack Tuttle gets injured, so you weren't really expecting to go out, and now you have to. And then you immediately get sacked 2 times in a row. That's not a very good welcome to, college football, but that's the life of an Indiana football quarterback. Dexter Williams just looked a lot better, and we were saying through fall camp and all season that Dexter Williams looked good, that his balls came out of the, they were sharp throws, and obviously I'm not around practice every day. I don't see this team play. I don't know the details that Tom Allen does, but I still think it's just a really questionable move.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people were shocked. I shared that same sentiment when Sorsby came in. For both of them, I don't think you can evaluate their play too much or put too much stock in what they did and I think the same thing goes back to last year with Donovan McCulley at the QB spot. It's just like these poor guys are just thrust into this position seemingly out of nowhere. Because I think a lot of folks were expecting Dexter Williams to be the starter. I think people kind of put Jack Tuttle on the back burner because of his announcement to transfer. And then Tuttle goes down. Everyone's like, all right, well, I guess now we'll see Dexter Williams. And then Brendan Sorsby comes out, and everyone's like, wait, what's going on? Because we didn't really see much of Sorsby at all in camp.
He didn't dress early.
Yeah. And so that was just kind of a head scratcher. I mean, yeah, it looks like they're lost. It really does. It looks like they don't have a total direction on what they're doing.
That brings up the never-ending question. I mean, started the season 3-0, now 3-6, 6 in a row loss. Where does this team go from here, guys? What do they do in these last 3 games to salvage pretty much anything?
Not get embarrassed. I mean,
you're playing Ohio State this weekend. That's hard.
Yeah, And so I think that's the goal this weekend, is to not get embarrassed. And then I don't know, I guess try and keep it I would have said you had a chance against Michigan State and maybe Purdue. Not a big chance, but you had a chance. I don't feel confident about saying anything at this point, you know? With Camper out, with having a big question mark with Dexter Williams, I'm genuinely looking forward to seeing how he does with the full week of game planning, scheming, implementing him into the offense, and seeing what they do. I'm very interested in how that works, because now you go from, and at the beginning of the year, both Bazelak and Tuttle said there were not many designed quarterback runs in the offense, and then that ended up not totally being the case because they would throw out some designed quarterback runs. But now you go from having a guy who they said they didn't have any designed quarterback runs, to now you got a scheme for this guy to give him some runs, because he's a different type of quarterback than both Jack Tuttle and Connor Bazelak, I think.
Yeah, and the one thing that I was really liking about Tuttle was that his tendency to get out of the pocket and make something happen with his legs. And I mean, he was doing that a lot. I know he had 8 rushing yards.
Yeah, but I think
that has
that
to do with the
includes
sacks.
sacks.
Yeah, 10 attempts though, and a lot of really good scrambles that picked up first downs. And Bazelak never would do that. I think maybe towards the end, the last couple of weeks, I started to see a little bit more of him where, okay, it was a option, and he would just hand it off every time when the running backs get smoked. And I saw once or twice he pulled it and then went for 15 yards. But Tuttle seemed completely comfortable leaving the pocket and scrambling.
Mm-hmm.
And that added a new dimension to the offense where, okay, obviously Indiana can only last so long on the offensive line before getting to the quarterback. But with Tuttle, they had at least consider the fact that he might leave the pocket and scramble. Now with Dexter Williams, additionally, the fact that at any point he can run, because that is part of what he does, that's a good added wrinkle for Indiana's offense that we haven't seen in the first 8 weeks of the season.
Yeah, they definitely weren't mobile really at all until Tuttle and Williams. I remember even in the game before Tuttle got hurt, I was sitting next to you, Evan. He did that spin move. We kind of looked at each other like, yo, did he just do a spin move?
Yeah.
Huh? But yeah, he mentioned he brought a spark to the offense because he was scrambling and he was doing things that Bazelak really wouldn't do. Bazelak would kind of just sit in the pocket and either he gets sacked or he gets it out or moves a little bit. He didn't have those 10-yard runs or even a spin move by any means of when he was running the ball. So we've talked enough about Penn State. They got their butts whooped at 45-14. So to make this all season, to make this season better, they go to Ohio State this weekend. Yeah. My first question can't really use because they already talked about Bazelak starting. So what can they do to make this not a blowout? If they can not make it a blowout,
quit at halftime.
Well, I don't know. Maybe that might not even be the solution.
Did you guys see the going around on Twitter this week, the photo of I think it was under Lee Corso's Hoosiers, where they took a 7-6 lead on Ohio State,
and they
paused the game to take a photo with the scoreboard and use it as their recruiting guide image, and then they got blown out 42-7. That's pretty much what's going to happen.
Too bad the internet's a thing and you can just look up the score now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that might be a good. It's like, what?
Yeah,
They
I don't
won?
think that would work now for Indiana. I think if they take a 7-6 lead on this weekend and they try to use it as a recruiting photo, I think they're going to get laughed out of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you do to make this not a blowout? Find ways to get the offense, get the ball out quickly, and not just run straight at the middle into a defensive line that's going to overpower your offensive line. And I guess do whatever you can. I mean, I don't know what this defense is going to be able to do to stop CJ Stroud.
Remind the podcast listeners what the line is this week.
41.5.
Let me see the current one.
See if it's gone up.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's being 6 touchdown underdogs is insane. I know you're going to Columbus and this Ohio State team is really good, and I don't know if they're going to drop in the rankings after struggling against Northwestern, but I mean, I think people are overreacting to that game. They're like, oh, Ohio State's been bad for weeks now. And like they were trailing in the fourth quarter against Penn State. Like, doesn't mean that much in the grand scheme of things.
No.
Oh, it has changed to 39.5.
Oh,
wow.
Wow. I would I would take that.
A heartbeat.
You would?
No.
Hey, Hoosiers money line.
I don't bet on Indiana football games, Max.
Neither do
never.
I.
I don't even sports bet at all.
You're
my sports bet.
20. 19?
Yeah.
Oh,
How old are you?
20.
You're 17?
you're 15 years old?
How are you in college?
I'm just too smart, man.
No.
Evan. That was really mean. That was like when you told me to shut up earlier. You're a meanie.
I didn't know such thing. I apologize. It's been a long couple weeks.
Yeah.
And I have to talk about Indiana football, and I'm running out of things to say, people. Like,
I feel like
There's
we're saying
nothing.
a lot
There's
of
nothing
the
to
same
say.
stuff where it's O-line struggling, quarterbacks can't do anything, and the defense just gives up a ton of points.
here, I can give a preview of next week's pod, too. Indiana's offensive line was bad. They allowed a lot of sacks. The quarterback battle, they had to do something different because it wasn't working. Tom Allen wants his team to execute better, and they lost by a lot.
How many screens do you think they're going to try and run again this weekend?
A lot. How many of them are going to work?
0.
Not many of them.
No.
It makes me laugh when they do screens.
I mean, a few of them work. Every once in a while, they look good, but
Once
when
in
you
a-
do them so much, it's kind of easy to like. Which game was that where they were like, oh yeah, they adjusted in the second half to our screens, and then that was like it for them.
I don't know.
Was that Michigan?
Yeah, it was Michigan. Yeah, because they were tied at halftime. Then it was like we were playing so well with our screens in the first half, and then the defense started cheating up to block the screens, and then we had no offense.
Come on now. Oh.
Hmm.
All right. You guys ready for predictions here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
think,
let's get this done with.
I think this is going to be an easy call here.
Carlo, you and I were pretty close to the score last week. I was a total of 9 points off. You were a total of, let me see. You were 6 points away.
What?
You had 42-17 Penn State.
Oh.
I had 38-16. That ain't bad.
Only 6 points away?
Has anyone? No one's gotten the prediction right this year.
No, I don't
What's the
think so.
closest we've been?
I don't know.
Carlo, you should do that before
Yeah.
the end of the season. Check out who had the closest prediction.
Mm-hmm. I'm 6-3. Who did I pick?
You picked Cincinnati.
Against
Oh,
IU.
stupid.
Because I'm trying to think. I had Indiana losing to Illinois week 1, and I think beating Nebraska.
Yeah.
Yes, because I picked them to lose to Rutgers. I think you guys both picked them to beat Rutgers.
So you're telling me I have to make a rash decision to try and come back?
The thing is, you'd have to make a rash decision, and it would have to come true. Like you can try to go out of the box and pick Indiana winning this week in case it does happen, but the issue is it going to happen? No. Yeah. Carlo, what's your prediction?
Similar to the one I had last week. I'm going to go 24-20 Hoosiers. No, I'm messing around. We'll go 45-10 Ohio State.
45-10. Okay.
It's pretty close to mine. Yeah, I just think it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be pretty. I don't have any faith in the Indiana offense. So similar to yours, a little bit higher scoring. I'm going to go 49-13 Ohio State.
Let's see. I don't think they've really gotten their doors blown off yet to the extent that they potentially could. I think it happens this week. 57-6.
66-3.
Come on. Yeah, I was going to say you're too close, man. 57 to what?
6.
Oh, you got that 2-point fail then?
They might.
Two field goals.
No, 2 field goals. They might get a garbage time. Okay, 57-13.
Garbage time touchdown.
I want the 63.
A James Bamba 20-yard touchdown reception
Yes.
thrown by
Dexter Williams. the
Donovan
second.
McCulley.
Grant Gremmel.
Donovan McCulley on a wildcat.
I'm surprised have they done that this year? Yeah, they
Yes,
did it once.
multiple
They did the
times.
Philly special.
Ooh, special.
That's the only time McCauley's thrown a ball this year was that Bazelak catch, which you feel like you'd think they would have rolled out fairly often, or like McCauley steps back. What do they call it? Is that a hook and lat? No. What's the play when the receiver steps back and they do a double pass?
Flea flicker? Wait, no, that's a running back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is this a double pass?
I don't know. A fakey wakey.
No.
Fakey
Yes,
wakey.
you know what I'm talking about.
Dude, like, fakey wakey.
Fakey wakey. Fakey wakey. Say go.
There are some questionable trick play names.
Like, give me one.
Okay.
I'll give you one after the podcast. I don't want to say it
Oh,
on the
word.
podcast.
I see now.
Evan.
I see now. Okay.
Dirty.
All right, guys. That's all we got. Hoosiers take on Ohio State this weekend.
Bye.
3:30 in Columbus. I will not be there. I will be in Nashville. But these two
Dancing his heart out.
These two
He's
guys
actually covering Vanderbilt football. Is Vanderbilt home this
Yeah,
weekend?
that's exactly why.
Take me down like I'm a domino.
Wow.
Is this his mic?
Yeah. You should
All right.
just turn that one.
Okay, so we've
Am I back on?
Yeah, I put you back on.
Domino.
You're killing it, Max. Yeah, we'll see if they can get that 39.5 line. You know what they say, good teams win, great teams cover. Let's see if the Hoosiers can cover and make this
See
week.
if they do both.
Great. Yeah, we'll
Win
see.
and cover.
Like I said, I won't be there. You guys will be for the Hoosier Network.
I
Great
guess
coverage
if they win, they
as
do cover.
always.
Sorry, keep going.
No, you're good. That is all we have for Pack the Rock podcast, episode 9. I've been your host, Carlo Barone, joined by Max Parker and Evan Gerike of the Hoosier Network. We'll see if Indiana can get it done and shock the world. ESPN gives them a 2% chance to win. We'll see.
2?
And we'll see you guys next week.